Nice, Eileen. This is the people's meeting.
It is the people's meeting. I heard. I missed it. We have this big fire over in.
Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, we pray this day for your ever-enduring guidance. We ask you, focus in wisdom and fortitude, that we may disperse our knowledge and facts intelligently among all humanity of whom we serve. Amen. Okay, welcome again to our meeting. For those of you that just showed up, Richard, would you please announce the items discussed in closed session?
Yes, Chairman. The board met in closed session for 3 items. 1, conference with legal counsel of significant exposure to litigation pursuant to subdivision B of Government Code Section 54956.9. There was no reportable action. The board also met in closed session with conference with legal counsel for existing litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9, the Grace Foundation of Northern California versus Wells Fargo et al. There was no reportable action. And the board also met to receive a report on claims, and there was no reportable action.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to agenda approval, additions and or deletions. Does anybody from the public like to comment on this? If not, looking for a motion to approve the agenda. I'll second. So moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Chair votes aye. Okay, we'll move on to public comment. This is your opportunity to comment on any matters important to you, whether they be on the agenda or not. If you're here to comment on something that is an agendized item, you can wait until that time, or if you can't be here at that time, you can go ahead and do your comment at this time. I have one speaker card from Eileen Spencer.
Can I come up?
Sure.
First, I'd like to announce we have a really, really bad fire in Westwood. We have Chester, Lake Almanor, Susanville, Westwood. There's like 10 or 12 trucks there right now. And hopefully, we couldn't find out if anybody was injured or not. There are ambulances standing by. But the structure, I'm sure, is totally destroyed. And they're trying to keep it out of the trees, so pretty scary. Just wanted to let you guys know. You know the Bill's house across from the fire station? Yeah, yeah, it's gone. So they're trying to keep it from moving. Of course, she's got trees all the way around, and yeah, they're trying to keep it out of the trees. Yeah, it's bad. But I was impressed with our fire response.
Very close.
You know, we've got Chester, Susanville, I don't know, Lake Almanor Fire Department, I didn't even know they had one. They've got 10 or 12 trucks right there, and it's just amazing. We stood and watched them for a while, but it's amazing how effective these guys are. I just really admire them. Anyway, what I'm here to speak to this morning is that you have become, or you're using a term frequently, that the county administrative officer is a CEO. And I noticed, looking at the videos, that the chair uses this term. And it's inappropriate to call, I mean, you can call in late dinner, but, you know, there are municipal codes. If you're not familiar with them, Can We Help Us supplied you with the powers and duties of the county administrative officer, and he could be considered, easily an executive officer of the county, but municipal code clearly states that his title is county administrative officer. So in the future, if you would refrain from trying to change his title, we would appreciate it. And also, if you're going to change his title, this is absolutely something that the public is going to be made aware of. Last meeting, Mr. Egan made a comment that his duties are going to change, and that's why they're using CEO. That was a pretty dramatic statement to make. So just to let you know, presently, you've been given the powers and duties of the county administrative officer. That is his title, and again, we're going to watch this interest in changing his duties. I guess primarily that's what you're trying to do, very closely. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else under public comment? Okay, let's take up the information and consent calendar. Is there any items any board members would like to be pulled?
G4, please.
Is there any items any members of the public would like to be pulled for further consideration? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the remaining of the consent calendar.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Let's do, if you're not sure, just, otherwise I can. Okay, so we'll take up item G4.
Yes, I had a question on the billing roster. We had a person from Shasta County that wasn't charged anything. How come, what's the reason for that, I guess is my question.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors, Mr. Chairman, Jen Redding with the Probation Department. The reason why we have a hold right there is because they had new charges within Lassen County, so they were charged with a crime here. When they're charged with a crime here, we can't technically charge their county because they have criminal matters in Lassen County. We also do courtesy holds, the same as other juvenile halls do for ours. When we have juveniles out on warrants, we all have 7 days to go pick up our juveniles so that we don't get extra charges for having a juvenile stay in another hall that was on a warrant.
So this person was arrested here in Lassen County?
This person was, yes, there was 2 of them, I do believe,
Yeah.
for charges here within Lassen County.
Okay. So you were just holding them until they could go back to waiting or something?
We were holding them until they were adjudicated on those charges, and then we transferred those charges to Shasta County for disposition.
And the same thing would happen for a Lassen County juvenile if you were arrested in Shasta County or somewhere else?
Yes, sir.
That was my question, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, thanks. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Oh, I had a couple of notations as well. So on your short-term revenue options on point 1, so just for the benefit of the public, for those of you that don't know, the board, along with the help of Jennifer, has been we are making an effort to close the gap on the general fund contribution that goes to juvenile hall and trying to figure out how to get some more revenue in to close that gap. So, and yes, we receive monthly reports, which I thank you very much for. Yeah.
You're welcome.
The point 1 where you talk about the Delphi group home revenue, and can you just talk on that point a little bit?
Yes, what we've done is we've sent a draft lease out that has a negotiable rent amount for $5,000 so that we can look at tying that in to see exactly how much is Delphi willing to pay and how much are they not willing to pay. And we're also gonna ask for them to pay for a portion of the utilities as well. And we have a teleconference set up with the executive officer for environmental alternatives and myself and Richard Egan so that we can discuss the lease and hopefully have a new one signed.
Okay, yeah, that's how I thought the math worked, but so basically they're paying $12.50 now, but you're proposing they pay $5,000?
That was at the board's suggestion.
No, I mean, if it works.
I certainly don't think that they will pay $5,000 because they would be able to go buy a house and rent a group home out of the house for cheaper than that. But instead of coming up here with no plan B, if the Delphi chooses not to renew their lease, then I have another option, which would be to move our juvenile probation department into that space.
Supervisor Chapman?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think that's a great discussion because that's an issue that has been a sore subject with some of us on the board for quite some time. Originally, this was used by county staff and a few probation officers ago, over the objection of some of us on the board, went into this plan where we moved these folks in. We spent $100,000 remodeling the space to provide them for this group of quarters. They get paid $3,000 to $5,000 per kid, and I think how many kids did it was a minimum of 6, but it could be
Well, they can have up to six
up to 6
youth
kids.
there.
So if you have a full house and they're getting paid $3,000, that's $18,000 a month. And the lease that was originally negotiated by staff was for like $250 per month. We pay the utilities. In our facility that we remodeled for them, I think we found that objectionable. And I mean, I think we would be better served using the facilities for our own staff and let them go out and find a house. I mean, there's a lot of vacant houses around town, so setting up their group home. So to me, it's a situation where we're subsidizing a private operation, which we seem to be good at doing throughout the county. And I think, they should stand on their own 2 feet. If they want to be there in a public facility, we should recoup that $100,000 worth of remodeling. And this happened several years ago, 7, 8 years ago. It's been ongoing. Now, they eventually got them raised up to $500, and then they got, in budgets, because of the subsidies that go into the program, that eventually they were paying us now close to $1,000 where they're at right now. So you're proposing to go up to $5,000. I think that's still an understatement because they are a for-profit operation. And then if we place one of our kids in their home, believe me, they aren't going to give us a bargain basement rate of $250. They're going to charge us the $3 or $5 or whatever the going rate is for placement.
And that comes out of the Title 40 foster care money
It-
that's
it-
paid through
it-
Health and
it-
Human
yeah,
Services.
yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's coming out of our general fund
Right.
or it's coming out of some public funded source through the state or whatever. The people are being asked to pay to use that. So to me, I think this is really not an appropriate use of public space. And, I think that the sooner they consider relocating and the sooner we can restore it back to being utilized for the probation department for managing. If you had some of your staff located there when it comes to the staffing issues for maintaining a more cost-effective operation of the juvenile hall, if you have an incident going down, you've got staff right next door in the office, they can respond and be there. There are a lot of advantages for us to use it for our own purposes, but in the past, and I would have to say this predates Jennifer by 2 or 3 probation chiefs now, we're the ones that set up this arrangement, and I think it's long overdue that we try to phase that out and get our building back.
So they usually run 6 kids in there?
Well, it has a max capacity of 6 kids,
I know,
but
but what's their average?
you can
usage?
have anywhere from 3 to 6. It's
I think they're
Difficult to
running
tell.
pretty close to being full in there all the time.
typically.
I know the guy that's kind of like the on-site manager for them, and they run a good program. Don't get me wrong there, they run a decent program, but it's for profit, and they're making the money, and we're subsidizing their ability to make the money. That's what I find is objectionable.
What? Okay, what's the size of that building, the place that we rent, approximately square footage?
I don't know. I would have to look into that, and I can put it into the next month's report or provide it sooner.
Probably between 2,000 and 3,000,
No, I think it might even be larger than
maybe.
that.
Okay.
It was the
I
juvenile.
had to
it
guess,
was-
it would be somewhere between 15 and 2,500 square feet. It has 6 bedrooms, it has a kitchen, and it has a large living area and an office space as well.
It was the juvenile hall before the add-on was put on, which is used as the primary juvenile hall now.
Okay. And then the other question I had under point 3, where you state that the MODOC, Plumas, and Lassen chief probation officers met earlier this month, March 6th,
Yes.
and, okay, obviously determined it would be prudent to conduct a cost analysis going back 3 years. Then it says information will be distributed March 18th. So I might have overlooked it, but was that in our packet last week?
No, it was not, because that was, I had to do the report prior to going to the CPOC conference where I was meeting with those 2 chiefs. And Chief Leo Fernandez from MODOC County, he said that he would be willing to throw in a contract amount for, you know, somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000, because that's about all he can afford. And the acting chief, Dan Prince from Plumas County, is not willing to commit to an actual contract price to where it's just a lump sum. He would rather keep it at a daily bed rate, because he's also in contracts with Trinity County and Tehama County
Speaking of.
and Nevada.
Yeah, but I mean, just speaking on that to the bed rate, the last paragraph gives some information on bed rates, where it says the Plumas and MODOC counties are billed a total of $3,091 for the month. I mean, you know, it's a cost of about $90,000 a month if you equate out what the, you know, just over $1 million that we pay out of the general fund. So we call it $100,000 a month, you know, cost to that, and you know, the bed rate for February got us $3,000. So I'm sure they're excited to keep paying us the bed rate, but you know.
It's difficult because
Yeah,
there's other,
Yeah, it is difficult, it's really difficult you're in a tough spot, because you're dealing with people that have been getting something for nothing for a long time, and we're trying to make it equitable, cost-sharing, you know, experience, and of course, you're gonna get pushback, and, but I think, I mean, I'm speaking for myself, but I think maybe the majority of the board would rather not wait a whole nother month to get the feedback. I think we should get the information that's stated here we were supposed to get last week, maybe at the first meeting.
Yeah. One of the issues that Jennifer and I have discussed after Jennifer talked to some of these chief probation officers is there is an excess capacity in these beds, and there are other jurisdictions who are willing to give lower rates even than we're offering, because the option for the jurisdictions that have decided that they're gonna have a juvenile hall open, the costs are fixed, and so anything they get is lowering their actual cost, kind of like we are. So they're willing to take much lower than their actual, you know, their prorated costs. And so, they will go to those other areas, those other juvenile halls, particularly the ones that have, programs that are tailored to the kids that they need. So that's what we're gonna face, is that it's a market situation where there's an excess capacity to house these kids right now.
I appreciate it. I think that maybe then it's time, we just need to face the realities and the music, so to speak, and like we need to, I mean, I know you've put in a big effort of, you know, as many have to try and help with this, but the reality is the reality. So I think the board needs to, you know, be given the reality to say, look, this is the best case situation. They're not gonna do a contract or cost share, a tri-county deal like the regional juvenile hall. And then we know what it's gonna cost.
Could we get a list of the counties that
That was-
offer the service, and then a list of
And
the
the
counties
price.
that are dependent, yeah, and the price, and the dependent, the counties that are dependent upon that, so we know who our competition is, we know where the opportunities lie, and one of the alternatives, of course, is to look at, is instead of, if we're not gonna have a regional facility and the support from the Modoc and Plumas County, which is gonna be discussed at the joint meeting at the end of April, on April 29th, that we, maybe as an alternative is what would be the cost of us moving our kids to those facilities, because if that's the trend in the market and it's a dollar amount, we need to consider that versus maintaining our own separate facility. I mean, that has to be weighed.
And I think that was the discussion we started to have a
A
few
couple
months
months
ago.
ago, yeah.
And it's borne out to be true that there is an excess capacity, and maybe economically, the best option may be for us to send kids to other halls. However, there's
Well,
Other
there's
ladies
other
across
factors.
the
There's a downside
Jennifer,
to
you
that.
said that Plumas County was in contract agreement with other counties already? Is that what you said?
Yes, most counties typically have several contracts, so that what happened in the past is that one juvenile hall would be full. And if
So,
that
okay.
juvenile hall was full, then they would keep their kids and they would kick out the out-of-county kids. So you would have to have more than one contract, just in case your kid was the one that you got the call and said to come pick them up, then you would have to ship them out to somewhere else. What's happened is there was a lot of grants for juvenile institutions to be built, and everybody applied for those. Everybody built facilities. Shasta County built a 120-bed facility. I do believe Tehama built a 90-bed facility, and they're currently facing the same thing
we are.
that we've been talking about for quite a while, because they're looking at, hey, we've got all of this bed space, let me see what you're working on so that you can close that gap on the general fund contribution. And Tehama County is currently in a bidding war, basically. And at the March 6th meeting, the chief from Tehama County said that he would take $75 per kid and provide transportation, because he's running a 90-bed facility and he only had eight kids in his hall that day. So
But in our facility
there's-
is a 40-bed facility that several years ago we mothballed, and half of it is like mothballed, and we're only operating 20 beds of the 40, and we struggle sometimes to maintain the average of 8 in our 20. I mean, these numbers here that you're giving us showing a lot more activity than we've had in the past year, but still, that shows you the excess capacity and the cost of maintaining things.
I think this shows a different type of the activity. When you look at averaging out over the year, it's a little bit harder. But when you really want to see truly what the days are and the population is, then breaking it down by the monthly with the population that has how many days they were in juvenile hall, then I think that may help a little bit to see that it is more than 8 kids that we serve per year.
Yeah, this is indicating more than 8 right now, but
Yes.
on an average for the whole year, it could be 8 or less, or it could be more. But I mean,
It could
seeing
be.
this way is a lot better.
It is. It explains it a little bit differently, and that was probably my
But
inexperience
still,
of being
though,
able to show you the
This here
data.
is showing 13, and so you've got 13 of 20, and that's 20 represents half of what the building was built for. So we're at a quarter capacity, which is overall the facility that was built.
Correct.
So if I can see where the Tama guy is. He's got 90 beds to fill, and he's dealing with 8. This is almost like a water report.
It is, and that's why we're looking at one of the long-term options, which is the camp facility versus a regional treatment facility. And it's just trying to get everybody together with their counterparts in different counties to be able to speak with them, and then come back to the table to say, we really can do this, because if we do this, I want to do it the right way, and I want to really research all of our options and exactly what that's going to look like, and then be able to present a completed package, rather than just shooting from the hip and coming and saying, hey, we're going to do this, and it not work. I would rather
Mr.
We
Chairman,
appreciate that,
do
John.
something that takes a lot of time and thought
I
into.
really appreciate what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so do I, and I
Yeah.
think that,
Good.
it's you know, until recently, until we started this exercise, it was just, it wasn't like an unknown, but I think it was sort of like, forget it. I know it's bad news. And-
Well, we had plans from the beginning to look at
Yeah.
what can we do with the closed off portion of juvenile so that we can bring some of our kids that are in placement back to Lassen County so that we can keep our placement dollars in Lassen County instead of spending the $4,000 to $8,000 per month that group homes receive for these youth. I would rather bring them back, keep them in Lassen County, relieve some of our
So-
travel
so
budget so that
it's-
we don't have to pay somebody to
four
go
to
see
eight
them.
48,
Four to 8,000 now?
Dolphin's getting 4 to 8.
Well, it depends upon what level, what RCL level
I
that they're
was
rated
saying
for.
3 to 5, so
Yeah.
you're now causing me to revise my numbers.
Sorry.
That makes it even worse.
I pulled those recent, the 2014 numbers in preparation for the March 27th phone call.
With, if I can, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Egan, with the list of group home, I mean, not group homes, juvenile facilities, the counties that operate them and those that, don't, can we also get a list of the group homes that are operating in Lassen County and what their rough amounts are to kind of get an idea of what that picture, because it really, all that dynamic works together. And it'd be nice to kind of know what that competition is.
Yeah, go ahead.
I had one other question, going back to your billing here, you have Modoc County, there was no wards, but they have a medical expense of $500. Now, is that going back to the ward that was here previously and you just got the medical bill?
Yes.
And then, are those medical bills, do you pay those or does that go back to Modoc County and Modoc County reimburse you?
Modoc County pays for those.
Modoc County pays.
Yes.
Thank you.
And since we do have the county meeting at the end of April, I think it would be nice if we could address this again on our meeting on the 8th of April, so.
In anticipation of that.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
yeah. No, I appreciate it, really do.
You're
Get
welcome.
that information.
A fairly meeting consent.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I will do my best.
Thank you, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
Anyone, the public have any questions about this or any comments before the board takes action? Okay, so looking for a motion to approve the report on G4.
I would move approval of the report.
Do you have a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move over to our 10 o'clock time certain item D2, Lassen Office of Education, Child and Family Resources.
Hi, I'm Melissa Osborne from Melissa Rojas, and I come every year to get this membership certified. It's a requirement of the block grant that we have. And Child and Family Resources is head of the Lassen Child Care Planning Council, which meets to discuss the needs and set priorities for the needs of child care in our county and try to help keep going and improve child care slots, how many child care slots. It has gone down quite a bit in the past 2 years and it's still going down. But we are doing what we can to help people get licensed to family child care in their homes and help centers get licensed. So I just need the certification membership certified.
Thank you. Is there any questions of board member? Eric?
The only one I have is everybody, all your people you have listed except for one, which is in Westwood, are all from Susanville. I mean, there's nothing in Doyle or nothing up in the Beaver.
No, and I worked really hard to get that one in Westwood. I'm sure it's at the Westwood State Preschool, which I am program director for, so I offered it to her. It's hard to get people. It's hard even to get, actually this report was due January 20th, and we couldn't get enough people to the meetings to get this membership put together till last month. We do, a Board of Supervisors person is, in theory, is supposed to be on it also, but it's not matter, so. It's just, it's really hard to get, there. People are meeting, we go to so many meetings especially in childcare, there's so many different branches to get meetings in, so people, it's hard to get due. If you have any names of anybody that would be interested or you think, I would be more than happy to call them. Because even if they're not members, they're free to come, and anybody that comes can vote and everything, so. We are planning a conference, we're hoping in fall for on emergency services for centers and common child care homes, of how to prepare and what they need for different kinds of emergencies.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public